what's up, everyone? It's Austin and Clark here from AppSheet Training. We're excited to do another monthly webinar with you guys. This week, we're going to be talking about how to simplify business processes with AppSheet. Clark, how's it going?
Oh, Austin, it's going well. Another day, another dollar.
That's right. I like that background that you got there.
Thanks. I did not make it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Very nice.
So,
well, sweet. We are excited to be here with you guys today. We got some cool content ready to go for you guys. Clark's going to be working on simplifying a business process. It's pretty common in a bunch of different industries. So if you're building AppSheet apps or just wondering what to build inside of AppSheet, this will be a great kind of intro route into building business processes with AppSheet. So before we get started, Clark, what kinds of business processes are your favorite to turn into AppSheet apps, and why?
Good question. Yeah, so I think my most used use case, I'd probably say, would be like an inventory type application. And those are nice because they're usually pretty quick to get going.
Right.
As long as you know what you're kind of what you aren't looking to have for your back end.
Right.
It does feel pretty good. But I actually really like timesheet apps the most.
Oh yeah.
So being able to like clock into projects and stuff, I think that's a pretty neat way to utilize AppSheet.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of functionality that you can implement. So lots of reporting data, lots of cool chart views and whatnot. So yeah, it's a good time.
Very nice. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of those business processes are like pretty tedious without digital components added to them, because you're either having to write it all on a clipboard, notepad, and kind of jot down all those things and then transfer it onto your computer system.
You need Karen to upload it.
Someone to upload it. And so just the amount of time that you can save by just building that spreadsheet out, which most people are already familiar with working with spreadsheets, which is pretty cool that you can, if you've structured your spreadsheet right, then you can just click that, make it to an app extension now on Google Sheets, and it's just ready to go. Very cool. All right. Well, if you guys want to join in on these questions, feel free to throw in your comments in the chat. We'll be fielding your questions throughout the call. So treat it like a consulting session with Clark. He's a professional AppSheet developer. He's got expert knowledge, worked with clients all around the world. So if you've got questions about your own apps that you're looking to build out, go ahead and ask it in the chat, and we'll make sure to save some time for us to field those questions during our live Q&A portion. But with that, let's go ahead and get started. And before we get officially started, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Paperwork Pros. They have the product Forms to Docs. It's a rules-based document creation platform, and it captures information electronically in robust forms. So just like AppSheet, when you're creating those forms and automating those processes, this is another tool that can kind of build upon that logic-based form creation and document generation component. So it's automatically generating PDF and Word documents based on that information. You can store, edit, copy, and share these documents. You have unlimited user licensing, and it's risk-free. So you can sign up for a free custom demo using your own data. They will set up your first template for free, 90-day, no questions asked guarantee. So if you want to learn more, follow the link in the description below. And with that, let's go ahead and go over our agenda. So today, we're going to be going over the overview of our use case and kind of what business process we're talking about. Then we'll step into the use case, and then Clark will do our business process demo and kind of show you what we're going to be building out today and how to add these features into your own apps. Finally, we'll wrap up with a live Q&A, and then we'll have a chance for you guys to learn more about AppSheet training. So make sure you stick around to the end. So first up is how to simplify business processes with AppSheet. So by the end of this webinar, you guys are going to learn how to simplify those business processes. We're going to start off with creating an efficient project management system with AppSheet. So that's kind of the big umbrella that we're going to be going over today. And you guys, if you've been with us for a while, we've built this project management system before. We're going to be going over specific features today, and it might inspire some ideas for your own apps. And then some of those specific features that Clark will be going into is he's going to show you how to create those inline actions with table views, and then show and hide data based on user role. And finally, we're going to build a weekly reporting analytics view with AppSheet charts. All right, so our project management use case. So just a quick user story background to kind of contextualize what we're going to be talking about today. So say, for example, we're at a company with multiple team members. There's lots of projects and tasks. You got to keep track of all these things, plus the due dates for each of these projects. So currently, they're using multiple systems to keep track of all these projects and timelines. So data is kind of scattered everywhere. There might be paper forms, there might be spreadsheets, and there may be just like Post-it notes to keep track of all the different project notes and whatnot. So lots of information traveling around everywhere. No centralized system, congruent system for the business to kind of operate under. So we're going to help out with that by creating an AppSheet app. So AppSheet training, we're going to create a system to manage all of these projects. We're going to digitally manage all these construction projects with AppSheet. We can create the projects and tasks assigned to team members and create dynamic automations. So this app we have built before. So there's components in here that we won't be talking about necessarily today, but if you want to check out our project management build that we had on a previous webinar, feel free to check that out. But today we're going to be talking about those specific tasks we listed earlier in the session. All right, and with that, I'll let Clark take over, and he's going to head into the process demo.
Yeah, absolutely. And if Austin, if you could switch those screens for me.
Yeah. Are you ready for the screen switch? Okay. There you go.
Yeah, so here we are, guys. Things that I wanted to talk about today that I like to do in a lot of my business applications are going to be inline actions and using virtual columns to basically have those in their environment. It's going to allow you to have your data kind of more cleaned up. You don't have those pesky show columns everywhere, and it just makes it nice and tight. And then we have our show hide based on user role. I know that we've definitely probably done this before, but I like to reiterate this because I do think this is a very useful thing that you can do with AppSheet, both in the security filters and in the slices. I mean, really anywhere. And then lastly, we have our weekly reporting analytics. So this is probably going to be some type of chart view with a slice, as well as you could create a bot to kind of show some things off as well. But we're going to see what we have time for. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kick on in. So this is an app that we've probably all seen before, our project management app. I made a copy of it so that I could do whatever I wanted in there. But first, I want to take you guys to the data structure just to kind of see what we have working with. So we have 3 main tables. You have your user table. Every app should have a user table, in my opinion. It just makes things really easy to filter things out. So we have our employee role here. This is going to come into functionality on that point 2. Then we have a project. As you can see, very, very basic, not a lot of information, but that's how we designed it. So it'll be very simple. And then last but not least, we have our task table here. So pretty standard stuff. Hopefully everybody can see my screen.
Yeah,
200%. And then we also have this assigned tasks table, which we won't be using today, but we could. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
So to start us off, I did want to share on this inline actions / virtual columns here. So basically if you've used the behavior tab before, if you've played with actions a bunch, you know that when you have an action, here, let's use one we already have. Populate queue. If you go to your appearance tab on an action, you're able to set their prominence, right? So display overlay is going to be like this edit button here. We have display prominently, which is going to display at the top. We have display inline, which is going to show on table views under a certain column. And then we have do not display, which means obviously it's a referenced action. You don't need to show that in the application. It's going to be on a form save, or it's going to be on a grouped action. So inline actions, you'll notice that we actually already have one in this table. This is generated automatically by AppSheet when you introduce an email column. Similarly, you'll have one for latitude, longitude. So you'll be able to find an address through Google Maps. You also have text and phone call for phone number columns. And then there's one for PDFs that AppSheet automatically will generate. And you can either show the action to email that person, or you can actually show the information in the column. So that's important to note for this step. This inline action is replacing the email, right? So for Austin Skidmore, I assume his email would be in this column, but instead we have an inline action. So if you want to show, let's say you want to show the data in the column, but you also want to have actions to go with it, right? You're not able to do that by just assigning it, right? So if let's show all. Let's find this email action, which is right here. You can see where the email is going. You can actually specify for email specifically the subject of the body of the email, which is pretty cool. But let's say we have, so you can see it's display inline. I have it attached to the creator column. Let's say I want to move it to the action item. You'll notice that the action item disappears, right? So ways to get around that are to basically have either a column that you don't use, or what we're going to do, I'm going to go to my task table, and I'm going to add a virtual column. And I like to name this something pretty specific to what it's actually doing. So inline actions task, right? And then we have an app formula. So for virtual columns, they have to have a formula, or otherwise they won't work. I almost always just do double quotes. So AppSheet recognizes that there's something there, but really there isn't, which is similar to what we have for these show columns. Both of these two things are a way to reduce the number of random columns inside of your spreadsheet, which is why that we advise them. So in this right here, I do want to show it. And now we can put an action on it. So I'm going to go to my view. I'm going to add this column in. There's no column order, so I'm just going to add one here. So all I did was just add the inline actions task to the top or to the front of this. And then next I can add a inline action to it. So for this one specifically, I am just going to use that email column. We're going to move it to the inline actions task. So as you can see, the column name went away, so you don't have to worry about that. If you want to, you can still change that display name. Typically what I'll do for my apps is I'll find this inline action, and then I'll make sure that this only shows on table views. So context, view type, equals table. Okay, so this makes it to where you're only going to see this on table views. Now, alternatively, let's say you have something like a Kanban view, which this one's kind of janky right now, but let's say you have these four views here, they're all in a line. Oh, actually, it works here too. So we could be good to go. I was under the impression that you had to do context dashboard, but I guess not. So the other thing that's really cool about things like this, so I'm going to create 2 actions. Check. I'm going to put it on the task table, and we're going to, actually we need this. And we're going to do status, which I believe the statuses are complete and incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
Copy this. X. Those 2 column naming conventions, or these 2 action naming conventions, will make sense in a second. But basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a way to have some checks and X's as my inline actions. And so you don't type in X, you type in wrong, but I didn't feel like that was appropriate for the top. So I'm going to have this little stop sign look at X, and then the same thing for my check. I'm going to put appearance check. And I like this one, but you can do any one you want. And then again, we need to make sure this displays inline on our inline actions task. Now, the other thing that's really cool about inline actions is you can have as many inline actions as you want on a specific column. So we're going to put them all on here and save it. So what you're going to see, now we're going to have 3 inline actions all showing up here.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
The more you know.
The more you know. I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So now what we can do, and that's not just for virtual columns, that's for any type of column. You can have as many as you want on that specific column.
Okay. Right.
Just know that it will hide it. So now what we can do is we can actually create some format rules. So green check. I'm going to put this on the task. We're going to make the condition true. You don't have to write true, but I like to sometimes. And then you'll see here at the bottom, we can actually assign it to the action, right? So this is how you change the color of your action buttons in your application. So now you see we have green checks. I'm going to copy this over and do red X. True. Oh, oops. This needs to be here. Red. So pretty neat stuff there. You can do some really cool things with these inline actions. For instance, if something is already marked incomplete, we don't really need to see that action anymore. So we can have a behavior where status not equal incomplete. Okay. So now if I hit this X, well, that just moved. Oh, right, because this is the Kanban. Let's make another view so you can see what I was just trying to do. Tasks. This is going to be a table view. So we have all of these. I'm going to do a column order. So this view is going to look messy. Apologies. But now if I hit that red X, it's going to change this row to incomplete and remove that action button. So you have an idea of what, you're not able to press it twice. It's not going to show up. In the same way, you can do that for this one. So we'll have status equals. Actually, this is not equal.
Another cool thing that I like to do is use if statements and toggle it back and forth depending on what the status is.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
Mhm.
So you can have, yeah, that's a good idea. The only thing with that is I'm assuming that you're saying you'd only have one inline action.
Right. Yeah.
The only thing with that is your icon can't change.
Yeah.
So I do like that.
Mhm.
What he was saying was basically um, in your condition here, if the current status is equal to complete, then change it to incomplete.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Otherwise, complete. Something along those lines.
Mhm.
But like I said, the only problem with that is you can only have one app icon
Mhm.
for an action. You can't change that conditionally yet.
Yeah.
I think that should be something in the future, but currently that's not the case.
Right.
Also, that did not work. Oh well. You get the gist. You can make these appear or disappear
Yeah.
based on those things. So,
Very nice.
any questions on any of that stuff?
Yeah. What are you guys using inline actions for? Have you used this in any of your apps? And yeah, are there questions in regards to like how to create these inline actions or your specific use cases? We'd love to know and try to help you guys.
Also, update. I found the thing. I misspelled complete.
There you go. That'll get you.
So now you'll notice a bunch of these disappear.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's just a very visual way of showing
Yeah,
what
what's
status
going
it's
on.
in.
Mhm.
So
Nice.
well, cool. If there's no more questions, we'll move on to the next point. Sorry, I know Austin's probably yelling at me because I don't have the slideshow on. But
You're doing great, Clark.
I moved too much. So next thing we have is going to be our show hide based on the user role. So as I said previously, there's a lot of different places where you can actually use this. For instance, you can use this in the security filters. You can use this on slices. You can use this for views here, show if, or you can use it on actions. So any and all of those things can work with the user role permissions. So we're going to do a slice based off of user role. So let's do admin slice. And maybe the admins only want to see things that are high priority, or things that are unassigned to a person. Maybe I mean, there's no limit to the options that you have with this. But basically, what we're going to do, we're going to do something like an if statement. If yeah, we'll do an if. This is fine.
Oh,
And
could you
then
zoom
I'll
in just a little
personally-
bit, Clark?
I can.
Sorry. There we go. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, as we all know from our studies of AppSheet expressions, lookup expression takes 4 parameters. It's going to be your table name, it's going to be the term you're trying to find, then your table name, the column where you'd find it, and then the column you want to return. So for this, we're going to be in the user table. We're going to be trying to find our user email. And then the last 3 parameters, well, any of the parameters in here sometimes have to be a string, which is why you'll see the double quotes here. User email is a special case because it is a formula. But but we're going to find that in our user table, in the email column, and then we're going to turn role. So there. So if this equals admin, then I only want to show tasks. What did I say? Tasks with a high priority. Priority equals high. Otherwise, true.
Nice.
Right.
Okay.
So,
can you explain the 4 parameters for the lookup? Yeah.
So again, the lookup parameters, you're going to have user email, which is what you're trying to find, right? So that can be anything you want. It could be a text string. You could be looking for ABC, or you could be looking for Austin Skidmore. You can look for anything. Your second parameter is going to be the table that you're trying to find that thing in.
Okay. So then that starts parameter number 2.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Then we have our email column here, our third parameter. That's where we're going to find our search term.
Okay.
And then lastly, we have our return column. So what this is doing, it's going to find my user email in the user table, in the email column, and it's going to return the role. So if I go to users, I find Clark at CrewTech, which actually reset solutions. Good job, Austin. Then we have my user role. This is what's actually being returned. It's going to be that admin. What table am I on? Also very important, make sure you're on the right source table. So as you can see, I'm not a coot. I know how it works. Coot's my new favorite word.
I've never heard that phrase before. I'm getting too old.
I made it up. So that admin slice, we can create a view. Admin, high priority, whatever you want it to be, right? And which we have all of these slices as well. But for this, we're going to have a table view. This is only going to show things that are high priority if you're an admin, right? So let's say we're not an admin. I'm going to change my email to Austin's because he's a Jerry. And we're going to have more records in here that are not high priority. So back. Now everything you see is going to be that high priority. So that's just one example of how you can use your user role for filtering your data. And again, you can use that in all kinds of spots. Security filters work very similar to slices, except the main difference is a security filter is going to be app-wide. So basically any data that you see is going to already be security filtered no matter where it is located in the application. Whereas a slice is particularly going to be on different views, right? So it's not changing the data that's being pulled in. It's just not showing some of the data. So very different distinctions there.
So what would you recommend when trying to determine whether to use a slice or a security filter?
I would say if at any point they need to see everything, then you should have your filters on the slices.
Okay.
If at any point, if they don't, for instance, if admins only ever had to see high priority things, then I would put those in the security filters.
Okay.
So that's the main difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question.
Very cool.
So cool.
Very good.
Any questions on that stuff?
Looks like, let's talk about Reaper says, how do you have the action item column frozen in the view? So I think he's meaning like,
You're
in
talking
Google,
about the first column?
yeah, like in Google Sheets, you can scroll it back and forth.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's standard now if you have this preview new features on. I'm pretty sure that's where that comes from. Alternatively, I'm sure it's down here. Nope. So I'm pretty sure that that's a preview new features thing. If it isn't, I apologize. But
I also think it's tied to showing all columns or not, because I think if you like adjust the columns, it won't show it. But I could be wrong.
let's see if Austin's wrong, guys.
Yeah, let's test it.
Austin's wrong.
What is it?
All columns.
I know, but is it? It's not keeping that first row frozen.
Right? Wasn't that what you said?
I was saying that it yeah. So I was saying it would do that functionality.
Oh, if you have. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you add columns, it will also take that feature away.
That's kind of pooty, as they say in the business world, of course.
Yeah.
Stephanie, if you're watching this, please don't fire me.
I wonder if I guess a workaround for that would maybe
so the workaround, if you needed to adjust the columns that were being shown, but you wanted to keep this functionality, you'd need to create a slice.
Yeah.
So for instance, admin slice, and then remove any columns that you didn't want to see.
Right.
And then just leave the original column order on the view using this slice.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
That is kind of weird that it's not like that. I mean, I feel like it's always like that for me now. So anyway, good question.
Let's see. Dale's asked.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I skipped it actually. Let's see. I'm using a maintenance app. Technician presses a button on the inline steps of the specific equipment maintenance. I start the step and it fills the start step column. Nice job. Yeah, that's a great use of inline actions. Option to have something like the expression assistant in text fields. So yes and no. I agree. My eyes also bleed when I'm trying to write JSON or anything or any kind of template expression. So typically what I'll do just to kind of make it look easier on the eyes is I'll open up a virtual column and I'll write my JSON stuff or
just
more
like
often than that. Yeah, just like that. That's how fast and good the script is. More often than that, I do template expressions in here, and then just transfer them over using the angle brackets. But I don't know of necessarily of a way to use a JSON expression assistant necessarily to actually help you with formatting and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you make anything with an onboarding view type?
Yeah, I've used onboarding view types before.
I see. Yeah. I read it wrong. Can you make anything? Yeah. Okay.
He's calling you out, Clark.
Yeah. So onboarding views are, they a lot of times you're right. I don't think they seem as useful. I think that primarily their use is to show off images, or maybe it's like The first time that somebody's using an app,
Yeah.
I see this quite a bit. You'll have the first time somebody's using an app, you'll have them go through an onboarding view, and then at the end of the view, it'll take them to a form where they can upload their user information. And so that's kind of nice, but it kind of just gives them a rundown of the app, and then you would have a view in the hamburger menu to allow them to get back to that if they ever needed to. But I know what you mean. Onboarding views are definitely less used for me.
Yeah.
Can you make a QR code to open and install an AppSheet app? Yes. There's a lot of QR code websites that you can utilize for that. I don't know any off the top of my head. I can't remember what they're called. I don't use them very often, but I've definitely done it before. So if you go up here to your sharing links, you have your install link. So you would copy this, or the browser link, I guess, if you'd like. But the install link is probably the one you're looking for. I assume it's going to be on their phone and not holding up a QR code to a webcam. So they would use that link, and then you could make a QR code off of that. So, good question. Is it possible to access an AppSheet app by using a CNAME record on your own domain? I'm going to be honest, I don't know what that means. Awesome. What does that mean?
So I think I'm not too familiar with all of that, but I know I think it has something to do with, huh? What'd you say?
Canonical.
I think it has something to do with like hosting to your domain. I think I may have trouble with that. So I think the functionality that we use AppSheet for is for internal business processes. So it's just linked up to our business domain.
Business account.
And so we don't really have to go through that process. If you're building an app for like a SaaS platform, then you would want to go that route. We don't usually recommend using AppSheet for building that type of platform. There are other no-code tools that you can build SaaS type of applications on.
Bubble.
Yep. Yeah, Bubble's really fun. I've been doing some bubbling these days. So, but
shoot, Austin, we got to get you on the next webinar demo.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not very familiar, so I don't want to speak into that topic too much. But great question. Wish we could be of more assistance.
Nothing that's serious, more like just having an easier way for police to locate apps.
Okay.
For me, when I am usually whenever I have an app suite, right, like I have a bunch of different applications for a single client. What I'll do is I'll create them an app launcher, and so they only need to install one link on their phone or tablet, and it opens that app launcher. They can choose an app, and then from the hamburger menu, they're actually able to go back to their app gallery, or it goes back to whenever you do a link to app action, it gives them the option to go back to that previous application, to the parent app. So I feel like that's usually the best way to kind of navigate that situation, especially if you have 20. Let's say you have 20 apps. That's a lot of space on someone's phone to take up. So I definitely recommend the app launchers. Good question.
Yeah, and we have a webinar going over the app launcher. Super easy to build if you get the data structure right, and AppSheet will pretty much understand what you're trying to build when you send it over to create the app. And so it's really like 5 minutes of database design, and then create the extension or create the app, and you're pretty much good to go.
Is it within the scope of the stream to briefly discuss low-key logging methods for those who do not have enterprise plans?
Low-key logging methods. So do you mean like adding more users than what's allotted on the core plan?
You're talking about JIP and AppSheet?
Not key logging, but having an audit trail for apps.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was actually just talking to a coworker yesterday about this.
Uh-huh.
So what I like to do for logging is basically have a table set up for all of your applications, and whenever anything happens, you have an action or an automation that triggers to add a new row to that other table. So you would have, what app was it? When did it happen? Who did it? And what did they do? Right. So you can have all that information coming in through an automation into that other table, and then all of your tables or all of your applications are all connected via that one table. And it would be something along the lines of all site records or an all app log, etc. I assume that that's what you're asking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds right.
Questions?
Yeah. Sweet. Some good questions today. I think we have one more bullet point to hit, and then we can also field a few more questions, I think. Can you?
Yeah, really quick, I'll elaborate. Essentially,
I was going to say, Clark, if we want to just switch into the live Q&A, because this seems to be going pretty good, then if you want, you can like show him step by step, and then we can kind of close with that.
Yeah, so let's do log.
Mm-hmm.
We have an ID, of course, and then we would start with app, created by, description, something along those lines. This can be as many different columns as you want it to be, because I don't know your actual use case. But let's say we're working in a suite of different management apps. You might have a description of what they did, but you also might have a status of the project they changed, right? Or if somebody clocked in and then went back and modified it, you would be able to see both of those changes in here. And what you have to do is essentially you have to be very descriptive in your AppSheet expression. So we'll go ahead and just create this out. Let me refresh this. I don't remember what my sync change was, so hopefully it doesn't yell at me. But we're going to add this log table. I don't need to view the source. I need to view the columns for my log. Right. So this is going to be we can have this as user email. Actually, I have those backwards. I'll have now, app and description. So these are going to be on our behavior. So every table that you have that you want to be moving over has to have its own action. Once you have its own action, you can use the same action to create the row. But this is going to be action. No, it's going to be add new row log. And this is going to be on the projects. Right, so we have projects. We're going to add a new row to another table using values from this row, and we're going to add that to the log. So any columns that you want to change, remember that If it has an initial value, you don't have to add that in here. So the only two that we would need would be app and description. So this app is going to be test project management. And another useful tidbit would be table. I mean, you could go into as much depth as you want, right? So you could list out the specific view.
Wow.
You know, there's a lot of different ways that you could do this. So I know this is gonna break, but here, let's just write something in. So I'm gonna update this structure. Sorry, I know that I work fast, so if I'm going too fast, I apologize.
I'm surprised that it didn't break the app.
Yeah, I actually spent a lot of stuff to basically
prevent that from happening.
Prevent that, yeah, which can be troublesome in the long run. So be aware of that.
Oh yeah, like if you're not aware that it's
correct.
Yeah.
Our primary concern is that description part. Quite excited to see how you cram all the details into a single field. Yeah, so essentially what you'll do, was it this one? Nope. Who knows? This one.
Yeah.
So now we have two more, table and view. So I don't remember. Sorry, even sometimes I have to look this up. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was just going to be table. Right, so normally whenever you see context table, you're setting equal to something in a first show if expression. This is different in the fact that it's actually pulling the name of the table being worked on. So I can do that, and then same thing, context view.
Very nice.
Those are pretty great. And then for your description, so let's say we're working, like we said, we're working in the projects table, which doesn't have a lot of things, right? I would have some type of concatenate expression. So you would have, project name. This table doesn't have very much stuff, so I'm going to make this up as I go. But maybe you have. I'm going to put these in single quotes, but date added, right? So you're able to see that. You're able to see. We added another one of these. Maybe you can see. This, so you do this row before, this row before, and maybe that's supposed to be off of project status, right? So this gives you not only what they changed it to. Let's do that. Let's make this project status, and then
you might be able to find that information on the task table.
After. Agreed. You can. I'm saying this is a record for all the applications, so you can actually see, what.
Oh, I mean, like if you wanted those actual columns, they might be on the task table.
Oh, as a reference. Yeah, that would make sense. It's fine for the sake of the demo. I'm assuming that we get the gist.
Yes.
And so this row before, this will always be in the context of this row after. Technically, you don't have to, as far as I know, you don't actually have to use this row after pretty much ever. It's always used in that context. We write it often, but Suppose you can filter to make sure you only grab what is changed, though. That's correct. Yeah. It is not possible to collect the entirety of this row before and this row after. You would have to specify what columns, which can be a pain. And you're kind of looking at a long if statement to find only the values that changed. Right. So this table has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has 15 columns, right? So you're looking at 15 different conditions in if statements in order to pull certain data.
Right.
So, if those are not the right ones. This row before that project name does not equal this row after dot project name. And you would have, or better yet, we'll do project status because I already have that. Oh, that's not my delete key. Project status. Right, so you'd have something along the lines of this. Otherwise, nothing.
Nice. Yeah.
Right. So this if statement right here is basically, and that's not going to work because it doesn't have project status in this table. But in fact, let's just change it. Still not able to find it. That's fine. You get the gist. Basically, what it would have before versus what it would have after. And maybe before would go first and after go second, however you want to do it. But essentially, this is what you would do. But you would do it, any number of times. So
awesome.
Yeah, you do have to get pretty crafty.
Yep. Yeah. Just get creative with those expressions. Well, sweet. Thank you, Clark.
Yeah, for sure.
That's fun.
We ran over on time.
No worries. I think we're right on time, actually.
There we go.
We're never late. All right, so let's do a little bit of a review. I'm going to throw my screen back up there. So today we looked at an overview of our project management app and talked about the use case a little bit more. And then Clark demoed the business process and how to add a few new features to this project management app. I also want to add that we have the link to all of our app templates in the description below. So if you click on the quick reference guide, that'll take you to our quick reference guide. And then there's a link inside of there to access our app portfolio. So if you want to access that, our app template portfolio is there for you to use and kind of get some inspiration and some ideas about how to build apps on AppSheet. And then we wrapped up with some live Q&A. So for those of you that want to learn more, please stick around. We have some ways that you can learn more about how to get connected with us here at AppSheet Training. So we encourage you to go to our website, appsheettraining.com, and sign up. We have a growing community of over 5,000 users and subscribers. Now, there is another tier for our subscriber level, and we encourage you also to explore the website, see our webinars, our live streams, and then we have different learning paths for you to learn more about AppSheet. So our community subscription, that's going to be our first tier, and you get that AppSheet toolbox, the live webinars with us, the blogs and articles, and AppSheet IQ. If you upgrade to the professional subscription, you're going to get everything that we just talked about in community, plus a full immersive learning experience. So if you want labs, how-to videos, and just an in-depth view of what it's like to build on AppSheet and to learn from AppSheet experts, this is the package for you. New courses are being added monthly. You also get access to our AppSheet certification, and then 15% off consulting. So if you want to meet with Clark one-on-one and have him look through your app and get him to help you on building those advanced features, or you're stuck on a certain feature set that you want to build out, he can definitely help you progress that. So we also have that 7-day free trial. So if you're like wondering, is this worth it? Go ahead and sign up for free, and no questions asked if it's not the right fit for you. Also, you can learn some new skills, so you really don't have anything to lose. So what you're going to get, here's a few of our courses. We now have a lot more because we've been doing it for longer than 8 months now, or I'm sorry, longer than 6 months. So there's 6 courses here, and we're continuing to add to that list of courses. And so we usually recommend people starting with AppSheet development in the fast lane. If you're just wanting to get a quick jump start on how to build an AppSheet. If you want the full like course build, AppSheet Essentials Bootcamp, this was a version of our live boot camps that we used to host. So if you never got to participate in those, here it is for you to watch at any time. And so the total value for all these courses, we valued at over $1,000. Obviously, we're not charging $1,000 for our subscription, and I'll get to that price in just a minute. And then we have our certification details. So certification, we think, takes about 90 minutes to take. We recommend taking that Logic and Expressions course, AppSheet Essentials course, and Advanced Logic and Expressions. That'll help you get kind of all the information that you need to become a business leader in automation. All right, and then AppSheet Consultant. So if you want to meet with Clark or any of our other AppSheet consultants here at Crew Technologies, we have one-on-one sessions. They last about an hour, and then it can get you up to speed and really get you building on AppSheet faster than ever before. One of our new courses is Dynamic Email and Document Generation. This is 4 learning modules, custom app template, customized Google Doc template, labs, PDF downloads, and more. So this is valued at that $79 price point. So a pretty cool course. I love dynamic emails and document generation. So be sure to check that one out. All right. And then, so kind of reviewing everything that we talked about in the subscription plan for professional. You're going to get everything in community, that immersive learning experience, new courses, AppSheet certification, and that 15% off consulting is valued around $1,000. But for you guys, want to make sure we give you the best value possible. You can get started for free, obviously, but then it's only $39 a month after that. So you can subscribe at appsheettraining.com and get started on building your AppSheet apps that you've always wanted to build, with learning just a few new techniques from our AppSheet experts. We also have Tech Talks. You can schedule a call with our team to learn more about those services. All right. So I do have about 5 minutes left to answer any of your questions about our courses or our content on our website. So if you do want to throw those in the chat, feel free to do that. And I have a few questions here myself about which courses you should start with. Like I said earlier, if you want to start with, if you're like brand new to AppSheet and want to get a head start on how to build quickly, we recommend that AppSheet in the Fast Lane course. That's a great course to kind of kickstart your AppSheet learning journey and really make sure that you're getting up to speed on best practices and how to build an AppSheet. If you want to get an immersive learning experience and really learn the full breadth of what's possible in AppSheet, then we recommend that AppSheet Essentials Bootcamp. That's a little bit of a longer course, but it's going to teach you everything that you need to know, from database design to automation to building out your expressions. Again, these are just going to be the foundational concepts for each of these topics. When you go into the advanced logic and expressions, you'll get more of the advanced version, as well as the dynamic emails and automations and stuff. So all of these courses will help you on your learning journey, but we recommend either that AppSheet in the Fast Lane or the Bootcamp course. All right. And then which courses come with an app template? Let me pull up my notes here real quick so I can tell you guys which of those courses will come with that app template. So if you're just looking for the app template to kind of get some more ideas about how to build on AppSheet, it's going to be that AppSheet Essentials Bootcamp, Logic and Expressions, Advanced Logic and Expressions, and then AppSheet in the Fast Lane. I believe there's a few more courses that have those, but those are the main ones to get started with. All right. And then will you be able to build your own app after taking these courses? Of course, that's what they're designed to do. So we believe it takes about like 50 hours of development work to kind of get started on building your first app and deploying it to your business. But once you get past that first app build and kind of iterate it a little bit, you'll be well on your way to building more apps. And maybe you want to build apps for clients or whatever you want to do with your app development journey. But yeah, after taking these courses, you'll get up to speed quickly and learning how to build on AppSheet a lot faster than if you're just trying to on your own with a guide along the way. All right, who can you contact for more information? We have a link to sign up for a tech talk with Cale Neff. So he's handling all our tech talks. And so if you want to sign up with him, he can talk you through next steps with Crew. If you want to get set up with consulting time, or if you're looking for licensing, we have been starting to take in some enterprise licensing. So if you're interested in that or need help understanding the pricing model that AppSheet is doing, feel free to sign up for a tech talk and we can kind of help get you started on that route as well. Let me back up real quick. One thing I wanted to add, if you're looking to sign up for a tech talk on AppSheet training, you can hit the schedule a call button. It's on the bottom right of any page you're on appsheettraining.com, and that's how you can schedule your call with Cale. I think there's also a link in the description below. But with that, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Clark, for being the developer that was going through the demo today. Learned a lot. I think you answered a lot of questions for everyone too. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and then feel free to check out these other webinars that we have. And with that, we'll see you next time. See y'all later.